Chicago, or it took a lot of real guts to do so. The sort of guts that were seen by our Russian gays and lesbian friends in Moscow just a few weeks ago. So with that, I'd like you to give a very warm welcome to Bob Schwartz.
He's 70 years old also.
Don't believe that lie. Even if it is true. I'm really glad to be here. I thank Andy for that gracious introduction. I have been involved in the struggle, not only this one, but other struggles for a long time. Struggles for African American rights, for labor rights. I think they're all part of the same basic struggle to win human rights, to advance the rights of all people here in the United States. It's one thing to talk about liberation and democracy. It's quite another thing to actually have democracy here in the United States. I mean, I would like to vote, for example, on whether or not Wall Street bankers should get a bailout. Nobody asked me to vote on that. Now, I don't want to get too far afield here, but as I said, I really do believe that all of these struggles are linked. There's a chant that's one of my favorites. I hope that you will help me out with it. It's, they say, get back. We say, fight back. 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 Thank you. There were two statements today that I want to highlight. We did have one friend on the California court. One judge voted for equality. And we should not forget what he said. His name is Carlos Marino. And Judge Marino said, quote, denying gays and lesbians the right to marry by wrenching minority rights away from judicial protection and subjecting them instead to a majority vote attacks the very core of the equal protection principle. That's a fact. And I think we all want to thank Judge Moreno for his courageous one-man dissent from what the other judges did to our equal rights. He had courage, they didn't. Can you imagine a court today, in the year 2009, upholding a majority vote to take away property rights from an entire group of people? A court upholding a majority vote that took away voting rights from a group of people? Or interracial marriage rights, which a majority of people at one time were very much opposed to, according to polls? It would not happen. It would not happen. But we, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are still subjected to the kind of bigotry that was in effect backed by the California Supreme Court today. Now we are tired of being discriminated against and victimized. We want the same rights that other people fought for and won. In polite society today, it's not kosher, shall I say, to discriminate against Jews or women or African Americans. Yes, it does happen, but it tends to be behind the scenes. But for us, they can still be open about it, and we need to change that. I noticed somebody wearing a shirt here that says "Struggle equals change," and that is what will bring about